All right, guys, so let's talk about action step. So Hughes, your action step this week was to chunk independent practice time to maximize independent practice opportunities and allow for more focused teacher feedback. So making those times for independent practice longer, less like, okay, we do it, you got 5 minutes, and more, you got 10 minutes to do these 3 things. Ms. White, yours was using leveled release and the adjusted graphic organizer to address skill gaps. So thinking about that for lesson 2, what's the purpose of this lesson?
They are finding research about their frog so that they can start their essay with their introductory paragraph.
Okay. Not their introductory paragraph they should have already written, but for this one they're doing that for their proof paragraphs. How does that connect to what we've already done?
I would say it connects because on the previous ones, we've already did this outline of them finding that evidence that shows those adaptations and how they survive. And same thing with explaining that evidence as well. Like they've done this like 3 times already.
Right. Okay. What are like the 3 activities, like the 3 tasks that students have to do to get to that purpose of like gathering evidence so that they can write their informational essay?
The research part, like them reading about those different frogs and their adaptations. What else?
There's just one other part. I'm gonna, if we had the lesson in front of us, I could. So there's before they start gathering their evidence in the independent practice, there's something that we do prior that I want us to really understand.
Is it analyzing the model?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
the teacher model.
Yep, they have to analyze and discuss the model. They have to gather evidence, and of course, we can change the flow of this lesson, kind of like the flow we did of the previous lesson of like analyze the model, gather evidence, and then there's the last thing that we have to do.
Release them to write, read to write.
We'll definitely release them to write, but it's about parts of speech.
Oh,
The verb.
The
regular
verbs.
verbs and stuff.
Yes, do the future verbs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the most rigorous task in this lesson, of course, is like them gathering that evidence independently about their frog's adaptations.
Are they choosing this in this lesson, like which one they want to do?
I would suggest,
They choose their frog in lesson 4.
yes. I would suggest for like lesson 1 where they choose their frog. Thank you, Stevie. I think probably based on like skill, trying to guide them to that frog. So like glass frog, we've done so much that this might be ones for those like Caden Dysons, those friends that need that extra scaffold. The Amazon form frog is one of the other frogs. I would do that for our medium babies. They've seen some of that and talked about some of the adaptations to Amazon horn frog, so that might be their frog that I would guide them to. The last one is
medium kids?
The mediums, yes.
Okay.
The last one is the water holding frog. That's the most probably rigorous in terms of text, and like they haven't seen that information before. So I would probably try to get my high kids to do that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the poison dart frogs, that's for like our.
That's the model. That's y'all's model. Yeah. Okay. So Ms. White, what strategies or thinking skills do students need to use to master the most rigorous activity, being able to gather information?
They have to know their thinking job. So they have to understand what the prompt is asking them to do, so they can look for the right evidence.
Yeah. In order for them to understand and know their thinking job, what do they have to be able to do first?
Unpack the prompt. Okay. And then determine their thinking job.
Yep. So they have to be able to unpack that prompt. They have to know what their topic is so that they can determine their thinking job, right? And all of this, you guys have done wonderfully in, teaching the graphic organizer. So this will be easy to do. So also, and one thing that I saw Ms. White do this past cycle when we're doing the graphic organizer, that I think I really want us to emphasize as we're going through is every time we're going to evidence, what is your thinking job again? Tell me, what is your thinking job again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now go find the evidence. What's your thinking job again? Go find the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of just keeping that in their mind.
Yeah, I do think that helped them, like, in that one lesson where it said, think a job, like, you kept repeating that on those different pages, that definitely helped them.
Yes. So after they they unpack the prompt, they identify their thinking job, they gather the evidence about their adaptations, what do they have to do after they gather evidence?
Create their focus statement.
Elaborate, and then create their focus statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are students gonna be able to do this independently, that sequence on the interim?
With CFS.
So kind of with the CFS, but like, what are we, with the graphic organizer, kind of like, what are we setting them up to do in order for them to be able to do it independently? How are they gonna be able to do those steps independently?
I would have had the same answer about the CFS, because they know the order now, like, first the focus statement,
Mhm.
then your evidence, then your explanation of the evidence, then your evidence, explanation, evidence, explanation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then so how are we gonna set up independence in this lesson for them to be able to do that?
A lot of independent work time, like not really me going over each one, especially since all of them have different frogs.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting them find the evidence on their own and not really like, oh, on this page, on this section of that page.
Right.
Maybe like that.
Both of you brought up something really good. You said this, you said the CFS. So then if we're gonna have them do this independently, what do we really have to kind of emphasize as we're going through the lesson? If we're giving them those longer chunks, if we're giving them that space to be independent, what do we have to do to allow that? That's connected to the CFS.
Narrating around the CFS
Yes.
and making sure we're moving around the room. Oh, I see this person answered the
Mhm.
prompt. They have a focus statement answers the prompt. They
Mhm.
have 3 pieces of evidence.
Yeah. Why is it important for us to narrate around the CFS, Ms. White?
So that they can remember what they need.
Mm-hmm. It gives them clarity about what they should be doing. Yes. So still thinking about that plan of like building independence. So we have that model of the analysis of the model, right? So we can model identifying a piece of evidence and elaborating with the poison dart frog. After that, what is our plan for independence for them?
Now it's your turn to do it. Like,
Mhm.
if you've seen me do it, we've done this before
Mhm.
several times. You know what to do. It's your turn to do it. Go back to the CFS
Mm-hmm.
and make sure you're checking off everything.
I'll be coming around with skills for friends that have focus statement and answers the question, friends that have 3 pieces of evidence,
Yeah.
so.
Checking it off, narrating around that CFS, giving feedback based on that CFS. Y'all did great, because I was gonna say, before y'all said this, I was gonna say, let them do one piece of evidence in table group and then let them do it independently. But I think y'all may have a better plan. So we gonna do that. Okay? All right, good job. So why is it important for us to execute this plan this way?
It'll set them up for the next interim, which is, I think, soon.
December.
Yep, in December, early December, so if we let them really do much more independence in this next round of these, graphic organizers, it'll really set them up for the interim instead of them being like, oh, let's see the page,
Yeah, you know how they be.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we gonna communicate the purpose of this lesson and this thinking to students? What are we gonna say?
We are doing this now because you are going to be required to do this on your own. So if I were you, I would be trying to pay very close attention and remember everything that I have to do so that I can know what to think about when it's time for me to do it.
I love that. I would just add the skills or the thinking that we want our kids to do on top of what exactly you just said, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna have to do this independently. What are they gonna have to do independently? You're gonna have to unpack the prompt. You're gonna have to gather evidence. You're gonna have to write it. You're gonna have to write a focus statement. You're gonna have to write an essay.
Mm-hmm.
Those things. Gotcha. Yeah. You mind, let's practice in that for a second. Just saying what, like, how we're communicating that purpose to kids. Okay, you wanna give it a try, Miss? Huh? Oh, excuse. Okay, so I might say something like, today we will unpack a prompt and gather evidence about our own frog adaptations so that we can write an essay about how frogs are unique. You're going to have to do this yourself. Add on for Miss White. You're gonna have to do this yourself on the interim. So I would be paying close attention to the CFS so that when it's your turn to do it by yourself, you know what you're supposed to do.
What did you just see me do?
What did you just see me do?
Wait, so are we like outlining like the things that you pointed out, like the
Yeah.
unpacking of the prompt,
Yeah.
focus statement?
So I said, unpacking the prompt, gathering evidence about our frogs' adaptations so that we can write an essay about why they're unique.
So unpacking the prompt, gathering evidence. So, let me see if I can, let me get in the mode.
You got it. You got the mode.
All right, kids, today, you are gonna be writing an essay on the frog of your choice. We are doing this because you need to be able to do this in the future on your interim and also on the leap. You need to be able to unpack the prompt and gather evidence to do that on your own.
Yes. In order to
do that on your own
and write
an essay.
Great. Miss White.
All right.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
All right, kids. Today we're going to be writing well, I don't want to say another. Today, kids, we're going to be writing an informational essay that describes the frog of your choice and how they survive. Today is your chance to really figure out what you need to do because you will be required to do this on your own very soon. So I would pay attention to the way that we unpack the prompt to figure out the thinking job and to find evidence that proves or answers our question and connect it.
Yep.
You made me feel bad.
You both did great. You both did great.
It was horrible.
No, it was not. I see. This is the thing. So both of you did really great, and because one, you both projected. It's the wrong word, but you guys forecasted for them into the future of like, this is what you're going to have to be doing into the future, and you name the skills that they're going to have to do independently in order to be successful in the future. So good job. Snaps for you. Stop being like me and being so pessimistic. All right. So so in order for us to do all this, really for both of you guys, the best thing that we can do is make sure our exemplars are tight. You guys are pretty good at doing your exemplars, but we got 3 frogs that we have to write exemplars for. And on top of that, you'll notice for my exemplar, I added a couple of things. I have the CFS for every component for all the tasks, so the focus statement and the gathering evidence. I also have scaffolded questions for, okay, if they're not getting evidence, what am I gonna ask? If they're not getting that elaboration, what am I gonna ask? And then I just went in to their last assessment when they did their informational paragraph and was like, okay, if I'm level releasing, what is my group gonna be? Or who am I gonna hit first for evidence? Who am I gonna hit first for elaboration? Okay, does that make sense? So we're just gonna take this time now to just start scripting out our exemplars for each frog.